Well, it's a great day at Women's Television. Women'sTV.me, where we focus on the will to make the world a better place. We focus on the we of community, but more importantly, we focus on the me, the spiritual me that sort of personally changes our focus from good to great. It gives us an opportunity to look at the best of us, taking ourselves to the next level to make this world a better place for not only ourselves, but for our children, our grandchildren. I am Dr. Gloria Nixon Pone, and I'm the founder of Women's TV. And for a very long time, I wanted a platform where women could come and share about the events and the activities of their lives, their successes, and their challenges. So today at Women's TV, I am delighted to have with me. Will you greet our audience at this time?
Hi everybody, I'm Diane DiResta and I'm glad to be here. And thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. Now, Diane is an author, and she's a professional speaker working with corporations, working with individuals. Diane, will you tell us how you got started?
Sure. I started as a speech pathologist in the Brooklyn schools. So for 8 years, I worked with children with speech and language disorders. I decided that I wanted to get into something else, and I started doing stand-up training for a consulting company. From there, I went to Solomon Brothers doing management training, and then my last full-time job was as assistant vice president of Drexel Burnham's institutional sales and trading training program, which meant I recruited MBAs for the trading floor. What happened from there is I realized I liked my work, I liked the pace, I liked the money. I didn't like the culture of Wall Street, so I started to look for another job.
Wow.
And while I was doing that, what I did is I freelanced. And as I did that, I realized this suits my personality.
Wow.
At the time, though, I didn't
it.
have the confidence. And I'd say, I don't have enough experience. I haven't been out there enough. And little by little, I just put one foot in front of the other, and here I am.
Sometimes I find working for yourself is full-time plus.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So you've gone from full-time to full-time plus, and you're loving it.
I do.
You do?
Even in the hardest of times, I never ever thought about getting another job. I love what I do.
Now, how do you find time to write? And your titles are so inviting. Tell us about it.
Well, my first book in 1998 was Knockout Presentations, and that took me about 15 months to write, a year and a half. I did it in between different assignments, and then this new book, an ebook, Give Fear the Finger, was a compilation of techniques for having more confidence. So I concentrated on how to be more confident when you're speaking.
Now, when you say the finger, you don't mean the finger, do you?
No, and let me tell you, yes, there's a double entendre here, and let me tell you how I came up with that title. First of all, I've never given anyone the finger in my life. Truly, I have
Tell
not.
the truth now.
Truth.
God is listening,
I'm
and
too
she
refined. I've never
keeps
done
records.
that. However, what I discovered is there's an acupressure point on one of the fingers, and when you press that point, it's like a panic reset button, and what happens is it lowers anxiety. Therefore, literally give fear the finger. And if you read the ebook, you'll find out how to do that. I have a video with it, so I demonstrate it.
All right. So I know that titles are everything. And did you just sort of wake up in the middle of the night and had this idea that this would be your title? Or did someone help you craft it?
The first book was developed, the title was developed by the publisher. So he said, this is your title. I said, okay. This one is an ebook which was self-published, and I came up with the title when I learned about that acupressure point on the finger.
Wow.
I said, wow, you're literally giving fear the finger. I've got to do that. And when I said it, everybody loved the title. I said, you have to use that title. So here we are.
Well, your life is an example of success because you moved from corporate to doing your own thing. I call it doing your own thing. And now we have a mutual friend, Mark LeBlanc, and he says that there are 3 G's to greatness. The first G is to get out of your own way. because you are the one who holds yourself back and prevent yourself from going and growing. And he says, and the second G is to get connected to what matters. Stop wasting your time on things that don't matter. And then he says the third G is get help.
Yeah.
So I see that the use of fingers sometimes are helpful in keeping us on target and knowing the straight and narrow path. So I thank you for sharing your book titles. Now, are they available? How would a person purchase one of your books?
The books are available online. You can go to Amazon.com or you can go to my website, DiResta.com. That's D as in David, I, R-E, S as in Sam, T as in Thomas, A, DiResta.com.
Wow, okay. So that's awesome. And they'll be able to make purchases there?
Absolutely. Either on my website or Amazon or any of the online stores.
So now, do you have any upcoming events that are open to the public?
I do. I'm going to be speaking at the Enterprising Women Conference in Orlando starting the week of March 29th.
Wow.
I'll be talking to women entrepreneurs on media training. I'm doing a 90-minute session there, and they're also bringing in about 7 high school students, and I'm going to be talking to them about confidence.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome, because, I think it's Maya Angelou says that fear is great, because without fear, we would have no need for confidence. So it is the
That's
thing
true.
that helps us to overcome and to sort of make everything all right, our confidence in ourselves and the way that we can build our confidence. Now, you have been in this path of doing the work that you love so much for how long? Did you just get started, or have you been doing it for years and years and years?
I admit to 20 years. And after that, I plateau.
Okay,
So that's
all
going to
right.
be my plateau. So let's just do 20, and anything that comes after that will go into the 20 bucket. But a
Well,
long time, a
You've
long
been doing
time.
it, and you love it.
I do.
That is awesome.
It's always challenging. There's always a new industry or a new company. So I love what I do.
Now, I actually met you indirectly through National Speakers Association. So you're a member of that organization?
I am. I'm a past president of the New York chapter, and I've been a member since 1991 of the national.
Wow, that's awesome. So you enjoy the confidence that you garner there, and the work that you do, and seeing other people develop speaking skills and confidence?
It's a wonderful place to change the way you think. That's the number one benefit, to stay up to date on all of the latest techniques and learning where the industry is going, but also to have that collegiality and making new friends and having contacts.
That is awesome.
And I'm going to be speaking on one of their CDs, one of their Voice of Experiences coming up.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Well, I know you'll make those available on your website. But the good news is also, as of the beginning of next month, we're going to highlight you and your activities on our website at drglorianixonphone.com /women's television. So you'll be one of our partners. Isn't that exciting?
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. I love that.
Well, you mentioned that men and women are different in terms of how they deal with confidence and fear. Is that true?
It is true, and let me say that one of the things that is so important that I try to get across to audiences is that you must be able to present yourself more than ever before, because to avoid public speaking, whether you're an entrepreneur or an employee, is career suicide. And if you're an employee, if you're an entrepreneur and you're not speaking to promote your business, you are leaving money on the table. So when it comes to men and women, generally speaking, men tend to be more confident. And I speak to women's groups on how do you create confidence, and what are those things that are uniquely female that we do that undermine our confidence and credibility.
So if I were a man, I wouldn't have so much of a problem with this?
Not exactly. When it comes to speaking, public speaking, both genders are more fearful. But when it comes to talking about yourself and presenting yourself and communicating, men tend to be more natural at self-promotion. They don't have to be perfect. If they have 50% of the skills, they'll apply for a job. A woman will wait till she's about 90% of it before she'll put in her resume. So those are the areas where women need to be more cognizant and step up to the plate.
Well, I see that there is an increasing number of women in the National Speakers Association. Is that true? that more women are coming out of the closet in terms of their speech and speaking presentation skills?
Yeah, there are a lot of women, but what's interesting is the leadership positions are more men than women, and this has always been. There are
Wow.
definitely more male presidents than female, so we have to work on that.
Wow. Well, my husband and I, we attend Toastmasters also, and they've only had, I think, 3 women who've won the first place in terms of the champion, world champion speakers. And 1974 was the first year that they allowed women to be in the organization.
Amazing.
And that's also true of the Rotary Club and some other clubs. But now we're having our say, and I'm so happy about that. And particularly with Women's TV, we are here to celebrate women and to celebrate what they're doing and what their accomplishments are. And our sponsor is PoneInspirations.com. And that's Dr. Daryl Wayne Pone, who is my tall, dark, handsome husband. And he tells his story. It's the story of a little boy born with cerebral palsy who had a desire to become a medical doctor. And the world sort of said, you cannot do that. No, you're disabled, you're crippled. But his mother encouraged him. And he graduated near the top of his class in his undergraduate endeavors. He graduated from Meharry Medical College. He practiced medicine for 24 years.
It all comes down to confidence and mindset. And when I coach people or I train groups, there are 2 ways that I work: mindset and skill set. And what's interesting is someone said to me, you know what turned me around? When you shifted my thinking and you said it's not about you, it's about them, the audience. Because when people are speaking and they're nervous, it's all about being self-centered. Because it's me, myself, and I. So get over yourself. You know, really, truly. It's about the audience. Put the focus on them. How can I make them comfortable? What can I say? How can I say it clearly and succinctly so that they get the message? And it's amazing, Gloria, that one little shift makes all the difference.
Wow, that's awesome, because I stuttered as a child, and at the age of about 10, I had a traumatic experience, and I actually was muted for a few years. And I find that some of the great speakers had times in their lives when they would not speak. And speaking to me is very important. So you being on the show as Miss President, Miss President of the National Speakers Association, this is an
New York chapter.
New York chapter. Oh, well, I'm giving you a promotion, so take the promotion. There may be more pay and may not be, but so I'm excited that you're here. I'm so happy that I met you. It's such an opportunity to hear what you have to say and to see your presentation and your personal confidence. I think that women who see this interview will propel them into their own space of excellence. And I think women listen to other women.
Women need more role models, absolutely. And confidence, again, is an internal game. You need to program your mind for success, but then there are also certain skills. So I show women what confidence looks like, sounds like, and how to speak the language of confidence.
Now, if you were to share a couple of skills with the audience now, would you be able to do that?
Sure.
Or do you need a private session?
No, I could give you a few tips right now.
Okay.
All right, so let's say you're at a meeting. Get into a comfortable or confident stance, and that's what this is. You would put your feet forward. You would lean at a 15-degree angle with your hands on the table. This is a confident stance, this is a leadership stance, and this is a listening stance. So when people do that, it is amazing. When they come back, they'll say, you know, I got into the position, Diane, and I was a lot more confident. So there is always a mind-body connection. So you get into a physical state of excellence, it shows in your behavior.
Wow.
So that's one technique.
Wow, that's awesome. How am I doing?
You're doing well, except for this, we don't have to do that, but I'm talking about at a meeting, let's say where you're
I'm practicing because I want to get good.
But the very fact that you sit up straight makes all the difference. I'll tell a group when I'm speaking, show me depressed, and they all go like this. Show me confident, and they go right up here. So you don't even have to tell people, we know. So if you know what the physical act of confidence is, then get into it. Put yourself in that state. Here's another technique out of
I'm
Harvard.
ready. I'm going to
Ready?
try it as you tell me. Oh, you're on your website. You have your hands on your little hips.
Right.
I'm calling them little
call this
because mine are like.
Yeah, this is the Wonder Woman stance or the Superman stance. When you stand in this position for
love
2
that.
minutes, it's
I
got to be
love
2
that.
minutes.
Okay.
It actually increases testosterone, which is the
did not
courage,
know
risk
that.
taking. Yes, this is Harvard research. There's actually a TED Talk by Amy Cuddy.
TED Talk, yes.
Yeah, so go look at that Amy Cuddy Harvard research. When you get into this power position, and this is the other one, standing
I
for
love
2
that
minutes,
one.
you'll start to feel more confident. So do that in the restroom right before you go out to present, and you'll feel more confident.
Wow, wow. Now, apparently you've done quite a bit of research. I mean, you're quoting Harvard. And when did you start your research work?
All the time.
All the time?
You have to stay up to date. I watch TED Talks. I read. I look at articles from from neuroscience to confidence to women. And it's really interesting what's happening. I just want to mention the stuttering, because I worked with stutterers, and now they have research on what causes that as well. So there's so much going on.
Is it fear?
For some people, but there's actually a neurological component if you are a lifelong stutterer. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. I'm going to pass that word
Yeah.
along. I'm learning so much that I feel like I'm in school, and I'm learning so much about what you've done and what you've accomplished. But tell me this, how do you balance your national speakers, your writing of your books, your public speakers, you're flying all over the nation. How do you manage that with your own private life?
I don't. Let me tell you the truth. You know how they say you can have it all but not at the same time?
Yes.
I really believe that. But let me tell you how I am doing it. Today, I took time from my work schedule and I had a lunch with my cousins. We had a little family reunion. They came in from California.
Wow.
And my cousin is in the studio right now. I brought her with me.
I met her. I
Yes.
met Barbie.
Yes.
I thought about the Barbie dolls.
Yes. So Barbie's with us as we're taping right now. So that's part of including my personal and my business life.
Wow.
And it's not an easy thing.
Well, I think what I'm hearing is that you realize that it's necessary. Not easy, but necessary.
Well, I was thinking about it today and I said, I won't wake up one day and say, wow, I made $1 million, but I didn't get to see my 84-year-old aunt. No, I'm glad I saw my aunt today, and that's more important to me right now than anything else. So these opportunities aren't there every day, and you need to take them when they come.
That's
how
awesome. That is
balance.
awesome advice. You're combining the different aspects of your life to make room for the people you love.
Yeah.
And there's a great saying, and I don't know who it's by, who says something like, on your tombstone they won't ask you how many accomplishments or how much money. They'll just want to know who loves you, or
Right.
something along that way.
No one says, I wish I had worked more
Right.
time at the office.
Right.
Yeah. No.
So that's great. I see you're giving the women audience at Women's TV something to aspire to.
Well, thank you, and
Something
so are you.
Well, thank you.
This is a wonderful mission that you have.
Thank you. Well, I started on this a few years ago, and I actually went into the studio where my husband was being interviewed about his book. And so all of a sudden, the producer said to me, you know more about him than I do. You interview him. And that was
the beginning. See, and that's what happens. There's a certain serendipity that happens sometimes in life, and we need to see those moments and capture them.
Seize the moment.
And move forward. And a lot of times we're stopped by fear. We all are. And it's just putting one step in front of the other. But I think a big piece of overcoming fear is that community and support that you build. And that's why I like working with groups, so that you have that peer confidence building and that peer feedback.
Now, you work with women groups and you work with corporate. Are there other groups that you spend some of your days with?
My sweet spot is women leaders and senior level executives, primarily in corporations, but I do work with women entrepreneurs as well. And I just had someone come to me who's young, who has uptalk. That's that rising inflection. It sounds like you're asking a question, but you're really making a statement, and you have zero credibility when you speak like that. And
Wow, and it's called uptalk?
Uptalk.
Now,
And
I have heard it, but I never knew that it was called
it used to be
uptalk.
called Valley Girl Talk, but it's uptalk. And if you look at my website, website, I have video, I have articles. It's an epidemic.
Uptalk.
So I work sometimes with women to bring their intonation down so they can sound authoritative.
Well, we have a friend who is a musician of note, and he says women sing to each other.
Sing song.
Hello, Mary, how are you?
Yes.
And guys just go, yo, what up? and I think it's interesting, and I never knew that it was called uptalk, but I have heard it.
Yes. Well,
I've
and it's
heard it.
generational. I had somebody from a company find me on the net, and he called and said, can you come in? I have these young people, and they're all up talking, and it's driving me crazy, and I can't have them speaking to the clients like that.
Wow.
So we did some work with them.
So that's great. So you seize the moment when you have an opportunity to be helpful, to be of service. You just jump right in and you build your organization, your business that way. So now I see why you're not bored and why you don't want to go back to Solomon Brothers or any of the other corporate entities.
Well, I have to tell you that retirement is not in my vocabulary.
Ah.
And so someone said, well, how old would you be to retire? I said, well, maybe around 80, but as long as I have a phone and I can coach somebody and I can do it part-time, that's what I see. I don't ever see myself not working.
Wow.
Because to me, it really doesn't feel like work. Yes, I get stressed and I get overworked and tired, but the nature of what I do is not stressing. It's actually energizing.
I want to thank you. I told you the time was going to go fast, and it has just sped by, but I'm happy that you took time out of your day, and I'm happy that you brought lovely Barbie with you.
Yes.
And we're going to make note of your upcoming events, and we're going to post your website on our website so that people who want to build their business or who need services that you provide, they'll be able to do that. So, as I said before, we're at drglorianixonpone.com and /Women's Television. And you'll see all the past beautiful, awesome interviews that we've done. And you'll see the women, how helpful they are in wanting to create a better world, a better we, a better me. So, I am excited that you're here. And as we go forward, please keep us in your positive thoughts. And at Women's Television, we celebrate great women doing awesome things. Oh, Diane, it has been awesome having you here in the studio at Manhattan Neighborhood Network. It's just been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
So tune in next time.